had a lot of wonderful and hockey and stretch films here this weekend. It's quite worth for anyone to do. We do that every year. One of the justifications that big writers and directors say to us is like, it's really easy to write a book, and like this is what it's about. It's really easy to write like a mess up ending. And it's the middle part that's difficult. Like an anthology where you just play the hits, is that kind of cheating?
Sure, yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I don't know, so the reason this film came about was in 2020, like a lot of creatives, I was kind of, locked up during the pandemic, and I was just like writing everything that came to my brain because my day job was corporate commercial video, so I couldn't really do a lot of that, so I was just trying to be productive, so I would write all these different scripts, short scripts and stuff, and a bunch of them I didn't really feel like they warranted a feature-length, version. So, after a while, I really fell in love with 3 of them, and I was like, well, I would love to figure out a way to, produce these, but as we know, short films do have a short shelf life, unfortunately. Like, we still haven't cracked that code where we can monetize short films and get them out there to the public in a way that we can potentially have some sort of return on investment so that we can do what everyone wants to do as a filmmaker, which is make the next project. We're not trying to get rich. No indie filmmaker I've ever met is trying to get rich off of this. It's the worst investment possible, right? So, yeah, maybe it is cheating a little bit, but I don't know. I had a hell of a lot of fun making it, and I hope you guys had a hell of a lot of fun watching it, and again, I appreciate you guys being around. It's like past midnight now, and yeah, so.
Let's talk murder.
Sure.
I think there's kind of 2 main ways that kills happen in this kind of film. So one is it's a kind of a set piece, it's a payoff, and you're left going, that was awesome, that's original, I'm glad that girl ended up on that hook. The other one is that kind of like slow predator pursuit that builds tension, you're not sure if they're going to survive or not. I think there was a certain unsettling sadness and inevitability to the kills, on the majority of the kills that happen in that film. Is that not quite knowing how to sit with the kills the point?
No, I mean, the stories are kind of these like self-defeating hymns where I think a lot of the protagonists are also kind of the antagonists. They're kind of the undoing of their own world. Like, for instance, it's fresh in your head, but the pool keeper never even touches Nicholas. Like, they just talk, right? Every decision that Nicholas makes is his own decision to make, right? So, I mean, he's absolutely his own undoing. It's all kind of wrapped in this Midwest folklore, this fake Midwest folklore and whatnot. So, I'm not necessarily a gore hound when it comes to that stuff. We were talking about this earlier during the press thing we did, that Jaws is one of my favorite films. That's why I'm growing out my hair. I'm going as Quint for Halloween. My son, who's 1, he's going to be a little shark. Jaws, there's not a ton of gore. Like, Quint gets torn in half, but for the most part, a lot of the scares and stuff are kind of left to the imagination. So I still think that you cannot compete with a person's imagination. So I like to respect that as a filmmaker. But it's fun to do a little cherry on top like we did at the end, where he's disemboweled and it's a close up and you see the intestines coming out and stuff. So, but yeah.
Well, thank you. I adore folk horror because they're about, inevitably, always tiny little specific places, and the person that comes from that place has the kind of unwavering faith in that place, hates me and will kill me. But hearing you talk earlier, it sounds like that's not your relationship with this place, even though the place is personified in your film is this almost very sinister entity. Can you tell me a little bit about that duality?
Like the fact that the Driftless has like a sinister underbelly or something?
The fact that you kind of clearly adore where you come from and you talk really passionately about the Driftless as a location, but the representation of it in the film is almost this kind of evil force.
Yeah, I mean, the Midwest is kind of evil if you've ever been there. No, I mean, I adore where I'm from, but just like any place, well, especially when you like go out into certain places in the Midwest, it can be very beautiful, but also kind of inviting in kind of this weird, surreal, and uninviting way. I don't know. You know, a lot of these stories kind of manifest because of my age, right? And the time I was writing them, and when I was writing them during the pandemic. Like, I'm approaching 40, so like a lot of the themes in this movie have to, my editor quips, like when we were cutting like one of the final drafts, he was like, "This is your midlife crisis film, right?" Like the themes deal with commitment and legacy and addiction, like a lot of things that people struggle with, I think, in their late 40s and their late 30s and early 40s. So I think a lot of how a place can feel to you has to do with your own like mental well-being. So and you know those things that you feel in your mind can kind of be personified in the world around you, even if it is just like cornfield, right, or a river, right? They kind of take their own shape, you know, based on where you are in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's a reflection, and when you look in the mirror, you can't also help but see where you are and attach the feelings about yourself to that place.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like going back to Papa Bate, right? Like clearly their relationship is troubled, right? Even though he's going to say that with a proposal, and then you know the inevitable comes, right, in the form of Papa Bate, right? It didn't even matter, right? So the inevitability in the form of Papa Bate, and you know the other characters who's involved in this, you know, this hit, so to speak. So. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we've got time for 2 more questions, or should we get them from the fan base? You then, Matt.
Hi. First of all, congratulations. It's great. I had so much fun watching it. I wanted to ask you, during the first segment, I felt a little bit of the Wicker Man, kind of the Hills Have Eyes kind of vibe. What were your inspirations while writing this?
Inspirations. I mean, those are great examples. You know, I am just a huge fan of slasher movies in general, and cult movies. So I think kind of like tying that all together. Like, I'm a huge fan of like the Friday the 13th franchise. Like that's in Papa Bate's nothing like Friday the 13th franchise, right? Obviously, but injecting like and creating a character that is just this kind of, you know, force that doesn't really make sense and that you can't stop and it's inevitable, you know, personified through these slashers and stuff, and there's kind of like, you know, some westerny kind of, you know, especially in like the cinematography and like the showdown and stuff that we wanted to kind of inject in it and whatnot. So it's kind of just like a big collage of all the stuff that I loved growing up and I loved to the point of writing it, you know, framed in that landscape in particular is like the beach. It's called Finley's Landing. It's literally like 20 minutes from where I live, and I'm a river rat, like always on the Mississippi during the summer and whatnot. And honestly, the big inspiration for it was that abandoned casino riverboat, the Catfish Bend. I was on the river with a buddy of mine, and we found it just docked behind all these barges. I want to say like 12 years ago. We were driving around, drinking beer on a little bass fishing boat, and I was like, wow, it'd be cool to get into that thing, and wow, it'd be cool, you know, as most filmmakers do, to film in that thing, and set something in there. So that had a big inspiration with it too, where, you know, I saw the location and it just kind of like spoke to me.
Awesome, thank you. One more.
2 quick questions, snowball together. One, what was your biggest takeaway on this film in terms of things you want to apply to the next project? And then what is the next project? What's brewing next?
Yeah, my big takeaway on this project is I am, so incredibly lucky to have so many talented actors that live within, reach of me, and so many talented crew that live within reach of me. And, again, we're talking about Iowa. We're like 2,500 miles from Iowa right now, and it's not a state that's known for filmmaking. We're only known for the Field of Dreams. Like, that's it. I'm trying to change that slowly, but I think even I kind of took that for granted, like how many talented people, because like that was one of the beautiful things about this project is we got to work with so like a huge cast, like bigger than what I'm used to on a feature film, and we got to use different crew, because we had different needs on each project. So that was my big takeaway, and again, never stop being thrifty. I thought after my second feature that there was never going to be a third feature, and I never take it for granted that there is going to be another feature or another world premiere like this, right? Like we're always incredibly lucky to complete a project like this, and I try to never forget that. So, talking about the anthology format, again, it's beyond just being able to tell multiple stories that I was really passionate about. It was also a way to leverage the financial burden over several years as opposed to doing it in one, 30-day dump the cash out the window kind of experience, right? So it was a little more, a safe way to go about things. So staying thrifty was another big takeaway. I have another project lined up. It was another one of those stories that I wrote during the pandemic, one that I've figured out a way to turn it into a feature, and it's one that would take a lot of capital and stuff like that. So I'm hoping if you're a distributor out there in the crowd and you want to take the film on, so hopefully we get to do it. It's a Christmas horror film, but it's very much in the same vein as these stories. So hopefully, be back with it in like 3-4 years. Keep it close.
Hell yeah. So I know there are a couple more questions, but we'll do a signing outside, and we do have some posters pretty soon. I will talk festival, get a wonderful signature and a unique message. And for anyone who is struggling with the Dirty Shark theme after you mentioned dressing as Caleb as a young shark, let's round that out with a massive round of applause, please.